Okay.
And we're live. All right. Hello, everyone. It's Phil and Pete, and we're back
And
again for another edition of what we're watching. What's up, Pete?
everything is up. Everything is up. Life is better. Things are beautiful, and it's great to be here.
My God, where the fuck are you living?
3 kilometers down the road from me.
All right. Yeah. Okay. It's not that up where I'm living, although I am uphill from you, but that's about it. So yeah, things. At least we got nice weather. Weather has come back to São Paulo. In case you guys
Oh,
don't know, we
yes.
we live in Brazil. And São Paulo is one of these cities that I guess maybe Seattle is comparative in terms of like you get 4 seasons in one day, and São Paulo's like that.
No, no,
Isn't Seattle kind of
no,
like that, where it's hot
no.
and then it's cold and then it's hot? There's a couple cities in the U.S. that are like that based
No,
on the
Seattle is
geography.
Pacific Northwest. I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I'm from Victoria, British Columbia, which is
Okay,
directly north of Seattle.
well I know
And
Seattle's famous for being
yeah,
rainy.
no, it's,
Seattle's rainy.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
thing.
Seattle
Yeah,
has
they're famous for.
one. Well, the Pacific Northwest in general has one season, and it is
Okay, well,
overcast, gray, and rainy, but not too
okay,
cold. It's
that's
not
not
that
São Paulo.
cold.
That's not São Paulo then. Then I don't know. There is this,
Yeah.
but there's definitely some cities in the U.S. that are like that. I just can't remember which ones. But that's what it is down here, guys. In São Paulo, we get the crazy weather patterns. So it'll be like today. It was super hot in the morning, and I went out for a run at
It was
5,
30
thinking the
degrees
sun.
today. It was 30
Dude,
degrees
it was 30
today.
degrees.
I
It
went
was
4 days
30.
without taking a shower because it was too cold to take a shower.
It was 30 degrees, which I guess is hot, right? I still don't get Celsius, but it was hot at like at 2 p.m. So
Yeah,
I figured, oh, it's still gonna be hot at 4 when I'm gonna go out for a jog.
yeah.
It was freezing. It was freezing. I mean, freezing relatively speaking. Like
It
I
was
was,
cold. It was cold.
it got cold
It's
fast. And
cold now,
yesterday, same
actually.
thing happened. Yeah, so we get this weird weather down here. And so for the like about 2 weeks ago, it was just like we were freezing our balls off for about a week. But then, now it's like scorching hot summer is back. But then it gets cold around 4 o'clock, so who knows? But anyway,
Yeah, I'm
that's
just
what's been
glad I can take a
happening.
shower again, man. I was like, seriously, there was like 4 days in a row I did not shower. So it's like, it's just too cold. And who am I trying to impress? I don't interact with other people. So really, like, do I care if I smell bad? No. I'm not getting in that fucking shower when it's that fucking cold.
All right, a man of principle. Just
Yeah.
make sure you shower before our podcast. I'll make sure I do the same though, so don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah, of course. Of course. Of course.
Anyhow, let's get to it because we did get a chance to see some new movies. Amazingly, right? Because a lot of times we watch a lot of older stuff, but the last couple of weeks
Right.
we've had a chance to watch some new ones. So we'll see if we can keep that trend up. And I'm gonna talk a little bit Mulan and Tenet. And Pete, what are you gonna talk about here?
I am going to talk about. Let me look at the slide because I've completely
Uh,
forgotten. Um,
equals.
I'm going to talk about Equals, which is an excellent dystopian movie, and Boys State, which is a really creepy documentary recommended by
All
our
right.
friend Craig.
I gotta watch that then. Oh, Craig's gonna be part of this podcast, by the way. He can't be physically here, but he's gonna be here in spirit because we were talking Tenet. In fact, I'm glad you mentioned him because I need to open up the chat box where he wrote down some of his thoughts. Because he said he wouldn't be able to join us, but he would send some thoughts. But anyway, we'll get to Tenet, guys. We'll get to Tenet, and then we'll try to figure it out together what the fuck this movie was about. But we'll begin with Mulan, and traditionally we switch every week between Pete and I who goes first. I think I went first last week, but Pete actually watched Mulan, so I'm gonna ask what your thoughts were on Mulan before I give my thoughts.
Yeah, it was actually kind of personal. I
I
I
saw.
lived in China for 5 years, and I have a lot of close relationships with Chinese women. Um, Most of those relationships were platonic. It's not, you know, woo-hoo-hoo type shit. But the, um, the thing was, I felt like most of them felt like they were invisible. They weren't seen by the men in their life. Like they were discarded, not really seen as equals. And Mulan really kind of channels that a lot. And it's surprising to me in a lot of respects because it's a Disney film and it features a lot of violence. It features a lot of dealing with issues that you don't expect Disney to deal with because Disney has a lot of issues with sexual discrimination and other issues like that. So it's not the sort of thing you expect to see coming from Disney, but it was enjoyable to me. It rang a lot of bells.
Did you think it? Well, let me just say what I thought about it. First off, I've never seen the original. I know the original was kind of a hit back in the day, the animated version. So
It was
I'm
okay.
totally judging this. Oh, you've seen it? Okay, I've never seen the original. So I'm judging this movie completely on its own merits. Two, full disclosure, I'm not a huge Disney fan at all. So
Right.
it's hard to get me to watch a Disney movie. Unless, I mean, it's weird though, because I really do love that. Like, for me, they have this perfect trifecta of The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. Like, those three I love. And then after that, not even The Lion King I like. I remember seeing that in the theater and just like really detesting that movie. Um, so,
The Lion
but
King is amazing, actually.
you liked it? Oh, I hate that movie. I like Simba. Is it Simba the White Lion, which they pretty much ripped off of? Like, there's a few good documentaries on YouTube about how they just totally ripped that cartoon off. It was a Japanese cartoon, and it's pretty much the same. It's the same storyline. Kimba. Sorry, I said Kimba, not Simba. Well, even the names are very similar. The original story, the Kimba versus Simba controversy. So you can look that up on Google and have fun with that. It's like a little 10-minute short. But anyway, but I don't want to trash Disney too much. It's too happy for me. Like I'm not that happy all the time. Like I don't see
You found it happy? I found it very depressing. I found this to be the
no,
story of a
no,
woman who is like really, really like not respected.
no, but it's like
And
the happy endings. It all like it finishes like Disney has this tendency. It's like Spielberg on speed.
well,
Spielberg is
yes, yes,
infamous
and
for
to
his.
go back to Craig, one thing Craig said to me was, "Oh, we found out you're actually a woman. Okay, it's cool. Everything's fine, and we get the happy ending, and we're all feminists now."
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it
That
did
that
have
that.
that vibe,
No, it did. Look,
but
I wrote a few notes. Uh-oh, are you okay? Is Pete dying
yeah,
over
yeah,
there?
I'm fine. No,
Okay.
no, I'm fine.
So, look, first thing, I wrote a few notes down. Mulan 2020. First thing that got me into the movie is that it was the colors. I love the colors, and it's funny because just like maybe
It
2 days
has
before
a
I saw
beautiful
it.
palette. It has a beautiful
Yes,
palette.
dude, because just like a couple days before I watched it, I posted an article, I think from cracked.com, where they're saying, like, these are the five annoying trends that make every movie look the same. And I complain about them all the time, like, especially the color palette. Like, everything's either blue or it's orange. Like, there's these or this yellowish hue. Like they use these filters. Like every movie poster kind of looks the same, and it's just boring to the eyes. And the first thing that attracted me was like, wow, colors. So it was great. And Tenet too, by the way. So I kind of got two movies in a row with really nice colors. So the colors really pop out. Um, I like the thing with the chi. I know that there were some criticisms of people that watched the original where they're like, oh, they didn't need to have this whole explanation of why she's so good with the whole chi thing. You kind of made it like a Star Wars type, like the Force or everything. But I thought it was cool because that's part of Chinese culture, the Qi, in fact. And I studied a little bit of Tai Chi for a while, and so that stuff connected to me. But let's see, where did I kind of like I liked the movie. I thought it was okay, but I probably wouldn't watch it again. Is it's kind of flat. Like you said, it deals with a lot of serious issues, but they're so washed over. Like you said, the fact that she just gets it discovered that she's really a woman, and all of a sudden sexism has been beaten, in the
Yeah,
whole
yeah. She
Chinese
single-handedly
empire.
beat sexism.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if you felt the same, but I thought that the bad guys were really underdeveloped or not developed at all. Like I wrote here, as I was writing that note, bad guys not developed and they're gone. Then they reappeared, but that was like in the 44-minute mark of the movie. Like they showed up at the beginning, and then we have almost half an hour of movie where you don't know their motivation, other than they're just a bunch of they're like these raiders. And
Yeah, I think they're just a threat. I think they're just supposed to be a threat. But what I
I
thought
know,
was the
but
interesting thing was the witch. The witch
look,
was like
I'm gonna get to
she was
her.
supposed to be a threat, but she winds up being kind of a mentor to Mulan, which I
Yeah,
thought was an interesting twist on the story.
and by the way, there
Like
will be
she's like girl power, basically.
by the way, we'll give a little bit of spoilers because technically this is an old movie. It's just like a remake of an old movie, so it's okay if we have a few spoilers, not maybe too many. But it's interesting you mentioned the witch because I liked her character. But that's where I got confused because I was actually rooting for the bad guys the whole movie because I was like, "There's nothing about this No, because there was nothing about this Chinese empire that I liked. They were extremely sexist. They didn't appreciate her. They were trying to protect their kingdom, but protect their kingdom from what? These guys were coming down at the beginning. The leader of these raiders, he what do you call it? He was willing to accept the witch. He told her, well, once our kingdom is built, you can live there and be accepted for who you are and have a space for yourself. So I'm kind of like on team Raiders of the Rurons, they were called, the Rurons. I'm on team
Yeah.
Bori Khan, the lead Ruron, because they're actually fighting to let the witch have her place in the kingdom. And then when we meet them again, some of the other
Yeah,
guys,
but the dude wasn't. The dude wasn't though. That's the thing. Like she eventually turns on him because
but she,
she is not on
but
the same
why?
page.
But
Well,
they didn't
because
explain why.
she's doing
They
it for
just
the women. She's doing it for the women, and the
no,
dude
no.
is doing it for himself.
They flipped the script and they didn't explain why. I didn't like that because in the beginning he was like, "Look, he called her a witch. He's like, I'm not a witch, blah 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 blah." And then he's like, "Look, once we take the kingdom
Yeah,
down, you can have your rightful place and you can do whatever the fuck you want." And there was no reason to not believe that he meant that until we see them again 30 minutes later, and then all of a sudden it's like everything's changed, and oh, he's manipulating her and she's gonna know who is really in charge in all of this. I was like, wait, what's going on? Like,
yeah, because she's
I
out for
didn't
the
think that they
vaginas, man.
built.
She's out for the vaginas, man. She's taking care of the
No,
girls.
no, that's not it. She was, but to me, they didn't develop the bad guys well enough. One, to give their motivation of why it is that we needed them killed so badly. Because who knows? Maybe the Empire sucks. Like I saw them as like the rebels in Star Wars. Like they were trying to fight this extremely large state
Ah,
that controlled everybody's life, and the witch
you
was
got to
part
give
of
it to
it.
Disney
And
for
then
this though. They killed a lot of people.
they did kill a lot of people, so that part was all right. But anyway, I just thought the bad guys sucked. They weren't very good bad guys. It was very surface level, and then she just flipped, and it was kind of obvious she was gonna flip on him, but they didn't give really good motivation for why she flipped. I mean, they did, but it just came out of nowhere that now she's like,
I
oh,
think she was annoyed with him from the beginning.
she was a little bit, but he still promised her more than what the Empire was willing to promise her, which was nothing. It was the
Right.
same like thing like when she was giving that speech, that Darth Vader speech, come to my side to Mulan. I was like, Mulan, take the fucking olive branch. Like they don't give a shit about you. You know?
Yeah.
So I was frustrated with the bad guys in this movie. I didn't really get them. I thought the Emperor sucked. And by the way, the Emperor was Jet Li.
The
I only
Emperor
found
was
that
very weak.
out later.
Very weak.
He was very weak, but I can't believe that was Jet Li. He was under like a whole lot of makeup, man. But that was definitely
Was
Jet
that Jet
Li.
Li? Holy shit.
Yes. Yeah, Jet Li. I'm looking on the wiki page
Yeah.
now just to confirm. But Jet Li as the Emperor of China, wise, benevolent ruler of China who orders the mobilization of troops via the conscription of one man from each household to fight the invading Roran army. But again, why were the Rorans attacking? Uh, I don't know. Maybe in the animated movie it explains it a little bit better. Because I'm like, I had zero reason to cheer for the Empire. And
Yeah. Yeah.
the
It's hard for me because for me, like, this movie largely represents like the struggle that Chinese women have every day just being recognized as human beings.
Well, that's
And
the meat of it. That's the meat of it. That part was
yeah,
okay. I mean, I'm just going into like the shit that kind of ticked me off, but it doesn't affect the movie too much. Because as far as the movie itself, it's okay. It's
yeah,
not. It didn't move me. I didn't get emotional. I thought it was a little too simplistic. That's why it reminded me of like the Green Book. It's like even though the Green Book is not a Disney movie, but it felt like the Disney version
right,
of racism in the South, where everything kind
right,
of ends
right.
happily ever after, and and it's like okay, whatever, it is what it is. But I recommend it. I mean, if you were a fan of the cartoon, I guess maybe you'll like it. But again, I can't compare it because I've never seen the cartoon version. Of the Disney live actions that I've seen, I'd probably rank it up there. I
I
think the Jungle Book is
I
probably my
haven't
favorite.
seen
Uh-oh, you got cut out there.
any
I imagine Pete was
of
saying he hasn't seen any, but you're getting
the
chopped
Disney
up.
live action. Yeah,
Oh, you haven't seen any of them.
I haven't seen any other. Yeah, yeah, no, Lion King. Like, what the fuck would I want to see a live action Lion King? I
It
mean,
was freaky.
the animated
The live
movie to me
action
was
Lion King
perfect.
the Lion King was kind of a freaky one. It gets scary. That part I kind of liked. That towards the end, I was like, okay, I don't think a kid would enjoy these because these lions just are really scary, not being cartoonish. And I started to dig it on that
Right.
level. Like this is almost like an adult horror movie towards the end. But
Okay.
the Jungle Book is really good. The Jungle Book was really good, and I like Beauty and the Beast. I don't care what anybody says. I stood up and clapped at the end. I just have a soft spot for that movie and the music in it. But the cartoon version is still way better. But this was cool, for what it's worth. I mean, some of the action stuff I thought was a bit Disneyfied too. Like it wasn't hardcore as it could have been. And I'm not even saying blood or
It was
anything, but
pretty
they were kind of
violent. It
short
was pretty
sequences.
violent, though.
I was I didn't think it was violent. Maybe my violence threshold is too high, but I didn't get pumped up for any of the action scenes. Like just when they were starting to get to where I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a massive battle. Then it would end, like that first battle that they have where the emperor's army goes out and meets the other army on the battlefield, and it's all like the stuff you've seen a million times. Everybody stand
Okay.
their positions.
Yeah,
Arrows
Braveheart.
first, or
Braveheart.
the yeah. I mean, that's we've seen that a million times in Game of Thrones, on Braveheart. Um, and I was like, okay, I can get pumped up for this. And then just as it start to get rolling, it kind of fizzles out, like they have some fights in the middle there, and then Mulan goes and realizes she can start an avalanche with like the power of the chi, and I'm like, I don't know, it didn't do it for me that much. The fight inside the Emperor's palace was a little bit better, but also small, but it was purposely small because only like 10 of the guys went. It was like the magnificent Chinese seven of the group went. But it was long, right? It was about 2 hours of movie. It was a 2 hour long movie.
Yeah, yeah, it was long, which is
So
why I watched it twice. Because last night I was pretty drunk,
I can't
so
believe
I
you
just
actually watched this part.
no,
No,
no, no. I
everybody should know.
actually
Pete swears. Pete swears he doesn't have a thing for Chinese women, for Asian women, but I think that might have clouded your opinion of this movie because it
oh
wasn't
come on.
it wasn't that great. Come on, it was
Yeah, no,
okay.
look, my thing is I've had friendships with Asian women,
Friendships only
and
because it's
watching
only
this
because they
movie
said
like
so.
couldn't help me relate. Well, yes, yes. All right. So I'm looking over my notes here, and I didn't bring my glasses, so I can't read them properly. But
Oh
one
my
of them
god,
says penises, penises. Oh yeah,
penises.
that's right. Yeah, it's really hard for her to hide as a woman. I think that was my intention.
Well, she had to hide her
So,
nudity through about
yeah.
half of the movie. The training section, the parts where she was training was kind of nice. I don't know. It didn't move me. Let's just say that it didn't move me at all. I
All
do
right.
want to watch the original and see if I like the
The
original a
original is
little bit
very
more.
good, actually.
Yeah, and I dig the one song from the original actually. So I might watch it just based on that one song. But there wasn't that much comedy. Some people that were comparing the two kind of, but that's the thing. Look, I realized what they were going for. They're like, let's make just like a serious version of this story,
Hmm.
and it just if you're gonna go in that direction, I just felt like they could have dug deeper. Like I didn't feel there was anything to lose at any point. Like you kind of already know it's gonna be a happy ending because it's a Disney movie, so you already know
It wasn't
that.
a happy ending, though.
But it
I
was.
mean,
She got to
I
be
mean,
like part of
okay,
the
they
emperor.
won. They won. That's the happy ending. But I
No, but she
mean,
got accepted.
seriously,
She got accepted into the
uh,
emperor's.
yeah, I know. Craig says that as well, but I don't really feel like just my
What was sad about
experience
it?
in China. I don't feel like that's legitimate.
Oh, I know, but you can't take that story into the real world. I mean, even though it's based on apparently like there's a folklore of a real Mulan, but I'm saying within the world of Disney, there was a fucking happy ending where sexism in China ended with Mulan, and she got accepted to do and
Yeah.
she was able to do whatever she want. She was able to fight with the men. So it's like cool. All right. It was like kind of like the Joan of Arc story minus the burning at the stake at the end, right? so,
Right.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
Exactly.
so if you're so
Yeah,
if you're gonna
because
go
like in
into
the
the,
real world, she would get killed. She would get killed.
of
Yeah,
course
she
she would,
actually
of
has
course.
this moment in the film where she puts herself on her knees and she's like, "Just kill me for my betrayal. Just kill me for my betrayal." And that
Yeah, and
would
I
probably
that's the
actually
part.
happen. That would be the end of the movie.
It would have. Yeah, and I think that for me is the part where I was like, okay, maybe it's because I'm an adult. Maybe as a kid, I would just be like, "Ooh, cool movie." But as an adult, I just look at it and say, "Okay, if you're gonna go for taking this kid's cartoon with comedy and a little, I guess there's a little dragon in there and like little talking animals, and then all of a sudden try to make a serious version of it." Try to dig a little bit deeper into like the actual fucked up parts of this girl when and what she's feeling internally. There were never these moments where I felt like especially that turn that Craig talked about. Like there was never any debate of like, wow, I can't believe this whole time she was a girl, or we
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
left,
yeah. We
you
accept
know,
her. We accept her.
yeah, and we totally left the family behind. Like we didn't get any more of their reactions to, Mulan's gone. Like I thought it could have gone places as far as exploring the characters that it just didn't. So that's where for me it didn't hit the mark because it tried to go dramatic, but it didn't. It just kind of went. It was like a live action cartoon minus the CGI creatures that they usually have in their cartoons and the music, obviously. But
Right.
okay, I mean, is it worth the $30 if you got Disney Plus? If you got kids, probably yeah,
God
because
damn, man.
they'll be watching it like a million times. I think kids are gonna love this movie, and she was a cool actress, and she kicks
Yeah,
some
she is.
serious
She is. I
butt.
look forward to seeing her in more stuff.
Yeah, and she kicks some serious butt. So if you got kids, definitely shell out the $30, man, because it's gonna be cheaper than taking them all to the movies. And I believe if you pay it
Or get it on
once,
Pirate Bay.
I know, but we can't tell
We
parents to
don't
do.
endorse Pirate Bay, of course.
I
Of
know we
course
don't
we don't.
endorse, and especially not parents of Disney loving children.
But
We
it is
gotta
a
keep it clean for them.
possibility.
There's a possibility. There's a possibility that neither Pete and I can afford Disney Plus. But if you happen to
Yes.
be a Disney family and you got kids, definitely buy this for $30 because your kids will watch it a million times and it'll be cheaper. Because I think that's the thing. Like if you buy it once, like you keep it forever, which is kind of cool. It's not $30 for a one-time watch, so that's worth it, I think. So I give it a thumbs up though. I mean,
Oh,
it
that's cool.
entertained
I thought it was like $30
through.
for
I
one.
kind of Yeah, it is cool. I kind of lost it a little bit towards the. I was like, yeah, I don't really care too much what's happening to Mulan, but I made it to the end and I thought it was okay. I just thought the bad guy sucked. But anyway, let's move ahead because we spent a lot of time on Mulan. If your microphone comes back, because you're cutting out, if you're back, talk some equals because I've never even heard of this movie, and it's got Kristen Stewart of
All right.
um
You're focusing
of
on her, really. Nicholas Holt.
oh yeah,
He's
I have
Mr.
I have no
X-Men.
clue who he is. Nicholas Holt. Who does he play in the X Men? Because I know her
The
from
Beast.
those vampire movies. Those kind of shitty vampire movies. Who is he? Oh, he's horrible as the Beast. That's why I don't know him. I don't like his version of the Beast at all. The Beast is one of my favorite X Men, and they've never done him justice in the movie versions. And this newer one is worse than the old one with who played the old Beast? I forgot now the actor's name, but he
Yeah.
was a little better. He was a little better.
Well, I think his idea with the character was where he was the beast that we know, like the Kelsey Grammer version
Kelsey
is different,
Grammer. I like the
and I
Kelsey
think
Grammer
the
version.
Nicholas Holt version was. We're talking about this movie.
Oh, your connection is really bad, Pete. You're cutting out. So if I talk over you, that's why, because I'm just kind of filling in dead air. But I believe what Pete was saying is that the Kelsey Grammer version is the beast we do know from the comics and even the cartoon a little bit. And yeah, I agree. I think where they faulted is that they didn't have like the special effects capacity that we do today to make make his fight sequences and stuff a little bit better. Like the Nicholas Hoult version definitely had better fight sequences. Pete might have been knocked out,
All right, I'm gonna be
um,
back.
but his it's really bad that your connection, Pete. So you want to try to. Well, we'll try to see if we can hear you,
I'm
but
gonna
if
keep
not, you might have to
talking.
connect and disconnect.
All right.
Or let me see, say something. Oh yeah, you're bad. Your connection's bad, man. You want to try to connect and disconnect? Because then while you're doing that, I guess I'll move on to Tenet, and then we can come back to Equals and Boy State. Because you are.
Oh, stalls.
Let me see. Go ahead, try it now.
All right.
Nah, it's terrible, man. Try moving around the room. Go by the window or something. I don't know. Yes, guys, this is live, so we get these issues sometimes. But going back to Mulan, though, I'll give a few last thoughts of Mulan, and that's that if you, I'm gonna watch the cartoon, and maybe next week I'll give a bit of a um, my take on which one I like better out of the two. And I did watch the first episode of.
Got something going on, or what?
I are you there? Did you move around? I did watch the first episode of Cobra Kai, by the way. I wasn't too taken by it, but I guess it's gonna get better. A lot of people are telling me to watch this show. It was okay, but it didn't get me all pumped to watch episode two, so I didn't.
All right, Phil, I got you back. I got you
Oh,
back.
now you're back. Okay, that's all. Now you sound better.
All right, Phil, I got you back. Booted from the platform somehow, but I'm here again. So, Equals. Equals is a dystopian movie about a society in which love and intimacy is forbidden.
Love it into this is like the lobsters.
No, it's the opposite of lobster because in the lobster, being in a relationship is considered a virtue. You have to be in
Okay.
a relationship, or you get turned into an animal. In Equals, it's the opposite.
Okay, but go ahead, talk about it, because your internet signal's great. Now your voice is very clear.
All right, cool. So, yeah, emotion and physical attachment are basically forbidden. Children are born through artificial insemination. Like there's no emotional contact with other people. It's forbidden. And our hero, Nicholas Holt, the Beast, is noticing. Well, the crux for this movie is where somebody commits suicide. Somebody throws himself out of the window and smashes their skull open because surprisingly in a society like this people are pretty suicidal. And he notices this girl played by Kristen Stewart who is very emotional about it, and he kind of draws himself to her. And what they call this is SOS, switched on syndrome.
Mm.
It means that like you have unhealthy emotions, and the truth is like society has been drugging people since birth. This is why like they're they're not able to feel feelings. It's kind of like the pandemic situation we're living in now, where you, you you thank God, like, can't there be a cure? And this is what these people are thinking. They're thinking like God, like can't there be a cure for switch on syndrome, which is actually just feeling like a normal human being. And these two people, they fall in love, and what they call like feelings for each other. So they have to separate.
I'm kind of following you, but it's a little tough because you're cutting out a little bit. So, summing up, we're in this dystopian, is it like a dystopian type
Jesus
society where
Christ.
these folks can't feel emotion?
Yeah,
They're not
yeah,
allowed to feel any emotion. And do Kristen and Nicholas start feeling something for each other?
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, they totally get it on, man.
Oh, some beast sex.
Yes, yes, exactly.
I've never heard of this movie at all. How is Kristen Stewart in it? Because I hear that she's actually not that bad of an actress. It was more like the what's the name of those damn Twilight? It was the Twilight syndrome that made her. It was more the material that made her and Robert Patterson come off as complete douches. But in fact, they're both actually
Right.
kind of decent actors. And I've seen Robert Patterson
I
outside, and I have to agree, he's really good. So I've never seen her not playing Bella from Twilight. So I don't know how she is.
yeah, this is the first thing I've ever seen her in, and I thought she was really good. Um, because she really downplays it. Like um, last week we talked about Romeo and Juliet, and this actually reminded me a lot of Romeo and Juliet because they go to all these lengths to subvert the system. Like they just want to be together because, like, at a certain point, there's like, okay, there's gonna be a cure. There's going to be a cure syndrome. Each other are going to disappear. Do we want that? No, no, we don't. So we have to try and subvert that. But the further efforts they make to to go against that, um, the more fucked up shit gets. It's exactly like Romeo and Juliet. It's like, oh my god, like all we wanted to do was run away and be together. And like the more efforts we make to do this, the more fucked up shit gets. So yeah, it's definitely it has its roots in classical literature.
Oh boy, so am I looking forward to a tragic ending?
It depends on your point of view. The ending actually leaves a lot up to the viewer. It's like, what do you think this ending is? Do you think it's
Mm.
happy? Do you think it's sad? Like, it leaves a lot up to you. So I wouldn't say it has a sad ending. I would say that it's up to the viewer.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I guess I'll check it out. I would check it out just based on Kristen Stewart because I'm kind of curious as to how her acting is outside of those shitty movies. I actually saw Twilight. I saw Twilight, and I think
I've
I saw the
never seen
sequel.
Twilight.
You're not missing much, dude. You're really not. Although the sequel's actually a little bit better than the first one. But I might be biased, like Pete is biased with all these Asian chicks in Mulan. I'm a little biased. I'm a little biased with that hot looking werewolf and his comrades, the wolf pack. They're kind of a bunch of good looking young men. So that kept me entertained for about 2 hours of that shit show of a movie. But all right, Pete, I'm sorry to move on. It's just that the connection
No,
was kind of
no, that's
bad.
fine. That's all I have to say.
The connection was a little bad, although now it's better. Now that see, that's how the internet works. Like when you gotta talk, it turns to shit, and then when you're
Yeah.
so because now it's like the sound is perfect. So okay, whatever. Um, let's move on to the other big movie that was supposed to come out this year. By the way, I don't know if you noticed in the poster for Mulan, it says March 27th in theaters. Okay, March 27th, maybe September. So same thing with Tenet, is that this movie was supposed to come out who knows when. I think it was in early August or maybe in the summer, and now it's finally out, and it's actually making some decent
I think
money.
this actually came out mostly on schedule.
Was it on
It just
schedule?
yeah, they just had to put it in drive-ins instead of regular theaters.
All right, I thought it was supposed to come out a little bit earlier, and they kept pushing it back. But in either case, it made 20 million in the U.S. box office and about
Oh, that's good.
another 100
It
million or
would have made
so.
120 million if it had been released any other time.
Yeah, but this is Christopher Nolan, so you pretty much know what you're gonna get when you watch a Christopher Nolan movie, which is what? Really great special effects, kind of a twisty, windy story for the most part. He has a few straightforward movies, but he does like to play a lot with time. And
Yes.
a real beautiful score, but also, and this is something I posted an article on this, or maybe it was Craig, speaking of him, who posted an article about what's up with Christopher Nolan's sound design. Like, what the fuck is up? Like, I thought it was just me because I had to watch this movie on cam, and I've seen movies on cam before, and I've enjoyed them enough where I'm like, oh wow, I enjoyed it enough that now I'm gonna go and spend some money and watch it in the theater. But I've understood I've understood the entire movie. Obviously, sometimes with the cam copy, there would be like little sections where you're like, maybe you didn't understand all the dialogue, but you pretty much can follow a movie watching it on cam, and they've been getting good at these cam copies,
I
man.
don't feel that way at all. I don't.
Really? Maybe it's because
Yeah,
I'm
no,
so used
I
to it.
saw the Avengers on cam and I thought it sucked. And then I saw a good
Oh,
version of it. And it's like, okay, this is what I was missing out on. I'm like, no,
okay.
cam sucks every time.
I disagree. I think it depends on which copy you get. I've seen some shitty copies of Cam movies though, so I understand. But this one was actually like it was really clear. Like just the beginning, well, you could tell that it was a guy with a camera. But after a while, like they're getting real professional with it. Maybe because the theaters are so empty, like the guy just snuck in there. He was just able to plant his camera. And the thing was, like, I kind of forgot that I was watching a Cam movie after a while because it was just like perfectly centered, you could see everything. And I was just like, okay, whatever. But anyway, but I only bring that up because, yeah, sometimes you're watching a cam. The issue is not always the visual. Sometimes it's the audio because you have a lot of surrounding noise, but but you can still more or less follow the movie. This movie, I was like, what's going on? Because it was really hard to understand. So then I thought, oh, it's probably because this version I'm watching sucks, the cam version. But then I start reading a lot of reviews, and I talked to our friend Craig, and he was saying the same thing. And they watched the real version, like in the theater. They're like, what is up with Christopher Nolan and his sound editing, sound design? Because you can't understand the fucking dialogue. It's like you have people talking under masks, which makes it even better. Especially with Tom Hardy and Bane, and I think in Dunkirk too, when he was in the mask, and all of a sudden you gotta hear somebody talk. It's like, what are they talking about? I remember the first time I noticed it was with the movie Interstellar, which I loved. But then I'm
All
watching
right,
it.
I'm back.
No, it's fine. And then I'm watching Interstellar, and then all of a sudden you hear this, "Whoa," and it shakes you out of your seat, and it's the score of the movie, like played like 100 decibels louder than everything else. And you're like, what the fuck? I mean, it's a beautiful score, but it makes you jump out of your
Right,
seat. It doesn't
but should we
match.
look at the person who makes the score rather than the director?
No, we blame the director. You know why? Because he's aware of it and he says he does this on purpose. Because he said that he decided about 10 years ago that he was going to treat dialogue as if it were a sound effect. So he purposely put sometimes, like, imagine I'm talking, it's like us when you were trying to talk about the movie Equals, where to make it more realistic, imagine he were making a movie of our podcast, he would make sure that your voice would be just as garbled and with just as much background noise of whatever of the internet going down for realism,
Right.
except that you're giving me important plot points during that, right? So I'm like, what the
Right.
fuck? So he does this on purpose. He said, I actually believe dialogue needs to be like a sound effect. So sometimes, yeah, the crashing in the music and whatever is going to be louder, and I mix down the people talking to add this sense of confusion so that the audience is as confused as our characters are in the moment. And I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I get his artistic decision, but I don't know if it makes sense with the movie. I mean,
Right. But Phil, Phil,
you
can
gotta
you
understand
tell
the
us what
plot.
this movie is about?
I forgot to
You
change the
haven't actually.
slides. I
Yeah.
forgot the
Can you
slides.
tell us what the story of this movie is?
Well,
Because
well,
I
Pete,
have no idea.
Pete, what does it say right there in that slide? Can you read it? It says,
Um. No, I don't have
you
my
don't,
glasses.
you don't got your glasses, but it says, don't try to understand it, feel it. So I'm not even gonna try to begin to tell you what this fucking movie's
Okay.
about.
All right.
But I'll do my best. Apparently, there is a guy from the future. I guess I'm saying a guy, but the future, because they don't really say who it is. Just the future is attacking the past. And
Okay.
for the motivation, I believe what I understood is that the world's become shit, so they're trying to create some type of a kind of like a bomb, or like this machine that's going to stop entropy, and it's going to reverse time so that earth has a new chance to become a better earth for their future. And they
Oh
and they
man.
yes, and it doesn't deal with like that grandfather paradox, where if you go back and kill your own grandfather, how are you going to exist? So they can actually go back into the past, change the past, so that in their future they're going to have a better Earth. So that's what they're doing, which is you see this scene here where there's cars going backwards. So this guy here, the
So
black guy,
it's about changing. It's about changing the timeline. That's basically the story.
yeah, well, it's not really changing the timeline because I guess in the logic of the movie, it's the same timeline, but changing the reality in that timeline.
Okay.
Mm,
Okay.
But and what's his name here? The Denzel's son. He's really good in it. What's his name now? I can't believe I forgot his name. Isaiah Washington. Is that his name? He was also in the Black Klansman. He carries the movie. He's really good in it. He's got John David Washington. Isaiah Washington is from Grey's Anatomy. John
He's the
David
wire
Washington.
dude. He's the wire dude. He's the shit dude.
Oh, he's in The Wire. See, I didn't finish all of The Wire, but that's another topic. But anyway, so what happens? He gets contracted, unbeknownst to him, to be part of this special task force to stop this from happening. So he and his partner there was just Patterson. So look, we had a little bit of Patterson and Stewart back together again, but in separate movies. They um, are able to also travel through time to be able to stop these guys who are trying to steal these 8 pieces to this artifact that once they put it together is going to create this machine which is going to enact the future's plan. And Kenneth Branagh is the villain in this movie. He's the one
Oh,
that's
really?
working future. Yeah, but he's horrible. And actually, it was funny. I read this review where it's like the less you talk about Kenneth Branagh, the better. I didn't even realize it was him. Truthfully, he was kind of like Jet Li effect. It took me a while to realize it was him. But another guy again, Christopher Nolan. What is up? You can't understand a word this motherfucker's saying. He's got this thick accent. It's all garbled up. So, and he just he well, the one thing that I did like was that he was a bad guy just for being a bad guy. That part was kind of interesting. That's
Right.
something different. He didn't have this like big motivation. He was just like, I'm just an asshole, and I think I want to be a part of this plot to, destroy reality as we know it. So okay, whatever. Uh, and so that's basically the movie. Like Washington needs to get close to this guy, so he manages to do this via the guy's wife, and they kind of have to go to these different spots before he gets there in order to take these devices, and it gets real time bending at the end. But yeah, I mean
But
that's the
was
story.
it thumbs up or thumbs down?
Uh, I'll get to that in a second. I'll give it. I'll give it this. I'm gonna watch it in the theater when it comes out. It's definitely something that I want to see in the theater. But mm, uh, I'm gonna go into Craig. Look, Craig here is because he wanted to. Unfortunately, he couldn't be on, but he did write down some notes, and I agree with most of what he said. He said Tenet is like driving a Lamborghini to a Walmart. The ride is thrilling, but the final destination is rather mundane. I want it to be wild, like wee bay at the end, and instead it's just a time loop. Predestination did that better. I've never seen the movie Predestination, and that's where I kind of agree with him. Like it's a totally watchable movie. It's entertaining. The effects are awesome, but it's like
Yeah.
driving a Lamborghini to the Walmart. When you get to the end, you're like, oh, that's it. Like it doesn't really leave you with anything. But he says none of it takes away from how masterfully Nolan creates exigency. He took a largely one-dimensional character and still managed to make you get wrapped up in the feel of the story. Which everybody in this story is very one-dimensional. You feel nothing for them. There's this one character, which is the wife, Kenneth Branagh's wife, which is called the Becky. I know that's the actress, the Becky, and she's got a son that she really wants to see, and we're supposed to really feel. That's supposed to be the heart of the story, but he tried and he
Right.
tried, and it didn't really work. So that part, that's why I'm giving it like a tentative thumbs up. Like, is it well made? Is it entertaining? Like, are you going to get bored with it? No. It's entertaining? Is it something that
Right.
after
So
you
it's
finish
worth checking
watching,
out. It's worth checking out.
it's worth checking out? I don't know if it's worth going to the movies for if you're afraid of dying or whatever, but
Right.
it's definitely not like the movie of the year or anything like that. But it's worth checking out. I think I liked it better than Dunkirk. I really hated Dunkirk. I'm in the
I didn't
minority with
like
that.
Dunkirk either, but I
Oh,
saw it on
good.
a
Thank
small
you.
screen.
Oh, good. See, I'm not alone then.
Yeah, yeah,
And then,
yeah. But the thing was, like, I heard if you saw Dunkirk on the big screen, it was amazing.
oh, I hate those arguments. I mean, yes, some movies definitely look better on the big screen, but if it's a good movie, it's a good motherfucking movie, you know? And that
Right.
just, it was, there was nothing about it that was interesting other than, okay, you get nice special effects. Um, And Craig also said he likes Bronin Sator. He liked that Bronin Sator was just a selfish prick. I'm tired of villains being the misunderstood or having some sad backstory to give them motivation. Sometimes people are just selfish pricks. Um,
Yeah.
it's beautifully visually, and the score is stunning, but the sound mixing was trash. I barely understood a word from the start until the end of the train yard. Luckily, nothing super important was said, and I agree with him because that's the hardest part to understand, which is the first 20 minutes of the movie. You know what the fuck is going on because you can't understand the people talking. But then after that, you kind of pick up the story and you more or less. He kind of followed the story. And I asked him, like, oh, I thought that it was just, I'm having a conversation with Craig here. So I asked him, oh, I thought it was just the cam copy. And he said, no, the fucking sound was horrible. I think I was lucky because I heard about how horrible it was. So I knew I had to pay close attention. And even still, it was terrible. But he went to see it in the movies. And he said he'd give it a solid B. And you know what?
Okay.
I'm kind of with him. I give it a solid B. There's nothing
All
special.
right. Well, I have to give your review like a recommendation. Like I will totally watch this movie.
No, you'll dig it. You'll dig it. There's nothing about it that is not worth at least checking out. I'm just saying that after you finish, you're just not gonna be like, oh, like you were with maybe Inception or even
Right.
Interstellar. I know that's a little bit more of the divisive movie, or even Memento that deals directly with time.
That's one of my all-time favorites.
I love Memento. Yeah, this
That's
character.
why I'm a Nolan fan.
Yeah, this movie just didn't have a hard core to it,
All right,
but
I
it
get it. I
works.
get it.
So let's move ahead. This movie's from 2020, and I actually put 2000 here by mistake on the bottom, but it's from
This is
2020,
my favorite movie of 2020.
and it's open. What is it? I forgot the name. Boys
Uh,
Club,
it, yes,
Boys State,
yes,
Boys
yes.
State.
It is Boys State. Boys State. And this is about a real thing. Fuck, man. It's like Lord of the Flies. It's um, it's a real thing that happens every year in Texas. These boys get together. Not boys, actually girls, and I would like to see the girls' club because I imagine it would be vastly different. They get together and they form fake governments, basically.
Oh, nice.
Um, it's an opportunity to teach kids about how government works. Now, the thing
Oh, you're cutting out right when you're getting ready to rev up and tell us the meat of it. You're gone, Pete. But yeah, this movie's from 2020, guys. January 24th. It premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, and A24 and Apple acquired distribution rights, and it was released August 14th. And it's got 94% rating on Rotten Tomatoes with an average of 8.2. And oh, is he back? Are you back, Pete? Just cut me off when you're back. It's just that your sound just went away completely. Um, the website's critics' consensus reads startling, upsetting, and overall absorbing. Boys State strikingly depicts American political divisions and machinations taking root in the next generation. So, I guess that's what the film follows 1,000 teenage boys attending Boys Girls State in Texas, coming together to build a representative government from the ground up, from all different political backgrounds, navigating challenges of organizing political parties, consensus, and campaigning for the highest office at Boys State, governor. This would be kind of interesting for me. I wish we could do something like this because I teach U.S.
all
government at
right,
a high school down here. Um, I'm
dude, I
hoping
got
Pete
you back.
comes back. There he is. Okay. Are you back, Pete? I was just filling up
Yes, yes, I
space.
am. Yes, I
I
am.
was just.
So,
All
yeah,
right.
one of the
What?
interesting things I found about this movie is about how people put forth platforms that they don't believe in at all. And that was the insane thing about it. There's this one dude, he runs on an anti abortion platform. And he tells the filmmakers, I'm pro choice. I'm pro choice. I believe in a woman's right to choose. But he sees himself surrounded by conservatives and he thinks, okay, this is what these people are going to vote for. So he totally like goes for the whole anti-abortion campaign, and it's like all of these people are frauds.
That's pretty much how real politics works, for the most part.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's exactly it. And when you look at the history of the people who've been through this program, they show them. It's like Dick Cheney, Rush Limbaugh, a lot of like really famous um, conservatives have been through this program, and obviously, like they've learned how to make it work. Like they've learned how to show bullshit, and this is what these people are being trained to do. And it's funny how the minorities thrive, like the black Black gay candidate. They don't actually say that he's gay, but he, I mean, you know, you
Mm.
can tell he's gay as well. And the Latino candidate, um, these guys actually rise to the top because they they don't deal with the bullshit that the white Republican Texas redneck types do. They just speak their heart, and the white Republican redneck dudes are like, oh well, actually, we really feel that way too, but we're not allowed to say it because we live in a conservative culture. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how politics form, and it's especially interesting because it's set in Texas, which is pretty much the most conservative place you can possibly be. And a lot of these people who are professing conservatism, they're actually not like that. They believe different things. They just say the things that they think other people want to hear.
But did these kids learn anything from this experience at the end?
I think they did. I think they did. Um, I I don't know if they learned it for the better. That's the problematic part because
Oh, that's
they
true.
learn some yeah they learn some things that can be used in a very negative way.
Hmm. Well, I might want to check this out though, because I was, as you were talking, I was looking a little bit of review on the Roger Ebert site, and it does say that it's like a microcosm of real world politics, but it says that it's one of those movies that will play differently based on your political affiliation and whether you see the glass half empty or full. But in the filmmakers document the
Yeah, I
event,
mean you could see this as very right. Like it's set in Texas, so
yeah,
like all of these kids are very right wing, and
yeah, it's you're
when
not sure if you're gonna be terrified or hopeful at the end of this movie.
yeah, I mean it is like that. These
And then
guys
it
are like,
says it
go ahead.
says that no, it says if you're like me, the outcome of the final election will be practically anticlimactic. But what happens next is moving in very unexpected ways because the entire point of this experiment by the American Legion is to bring young people from all walks of life together and allow them to learn about each other while experiencing a group event. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I think one area where this experiment goes wrong is that it is the boys' club. Um, I mean, I know it's actually not that wrong because women are excluded from government a lot. But I think like you really do need like men and women to be interacting with each other in government in order for it to be a realistic experiment.
They are. What do you call it? Are they? But they have a girls' version of it too, right? There's the boys and the girls'
They
club.
do. They have a girls' club. They have a girls' club. And I would love to see the girls' club version because I bet it would be totally different, but
They'd be
it would
more
still be
vicious.
equally as conservative.
The girls' club one might be more cutthroat than the boys' club version.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, women are mean.
Especially to each other. Uh, but all right. Actually, I might watch this after we're done the podcast because it's not that long. All right, guys. I think that's it for tonight. Look at that. We're right at the 1 hour mark. Perfect.
Oh, good. I have so much work to do tomorrow. It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, no,
I need
Tuesday is a
sleep.
long fucking day. So everyone, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and liking the page. We've gotten like since we began, Pete, we've gotten about like maybe one new subscriber per week or so. Like I know I started with like 150 some subscribers when we went up to like 170 now. So that's kind of cool. And
That's nice.
also make sure you look for our aliens ranking that's going to be coming up soon. I talk
Yes,
Star
one
Trek.
more movie to go. One more movie.
One more to go. I talk Star Trek on Thursday nights, and I talk Lovecraft Country on Sunday nights, and that's about all I do at the
And you
moment.
play live music. I
Oh
have
yeah, and I do
noticed.
some live music. Yes, I might. I'll post some of those on YouTube at some point. I gotta them down because I post them live on Facebook, not on YouTube. But okay, yes, thank you for mentioning that. And das ist alles, my friends. Okay, that's all, my friends. Until next time, see ya, and go watch some good movies this week. Adios.
Yes. Cheers.